This video that you're watching right now is probably one of the most controversial videos I've ever made. It applies to any human being on the planet who is currently eating a frugivore diet, a vegan diet, a vegetarian diet, an omnivore diet, a keto diet, or a carnivore diet who's added fruit and honey into their diet in any appreciable amount. This video may make you happy, this video may make you mad, this video may make you sad. But whatever emotion you feel while watching this video, keep in mind that your emotions don't change the facts that I present here. Let's talk about the hidden danger of fruits and honey and what you should know about it and what you can do about it. I'm Dr. Ken Berry, a family physician with over 20 years of clinical experience. Let's talk about the hidden danger lurking in fruit and honey and how you can understand it. Now, there are several physiological principles that you'll have to understand in order to get at my final nugget of truth at the end of this video. The first thing we need to talk about for a second is glycation. A lot of people know that that's probably a bad thing, but they don't really understand what it is. So glycation is the non-enzymatic sticking of a sugar molecule, a monosaccharide, to either a protein or a lipid. Now, when sugars do this, it gums up the function of your cells and your tissues. Now, there is another thing called glycosylation, which is an enzymatic, ATP-driven glycosylation of sticking sugars to cells in a certain way. That's something that your cells actually want to happen, and your body spends ATP on that happening. But glycation is non-enzymatic, which means that there's no enzyme required for this reaction. When the serum levels of sugar get high enough in your blood, then the sugar just sticks to the protein, sticks to the amino acid. That's just how it is, okay? And so anytime your blood sugar levels are high, that's a bad thing. And I think many of you already know that, but it's very important to understand glycation and how negative it is. Now, there's another thing that scientists are learning more about every day, which is called advanced glycation end products, which many scientists believe are one of the main culprits in aging, in both cellular and tissue and organ dysfunction. So glycation is bad. Now, if you're alive, there's some degree of glycation taking place in every protein and lipid in your body. But as long as it's a very low amount, it appears to be normal and healthy and not a big deal. But if you're having lots of glycation, that is uniformly considered to be a bad thing, both in medical science and in physiological science. Now, the next thing to understand is that there's basically three different kinds of monosaccharides. So when you take a carbohydrate, a starch, or any polysaccharide and you break it down into small enough particles, you're going to wind up with glucose or fructose or galactose. These are by far the three most common monosaccharides that you can ingest in any version of a human diet. So sucrose is made up of one glucose and one fructose, whereas lactose is made up of one glucose and one galactose. But in the end, there are just three monosaccharides that are going to be glycating things inside your body. And the final thing that you need to know to understand this video thoroughly is the test that you can have ordered by your doctor and performed in a lab called a hemoglobin A1C. Now, this looks at the amount of glycation that has happened to the hemoglobin inside your red blood cells. Now, here's shocking fact number one. Out of the three monosaccharides that I talked about earlier, glucose, fructose, and galactose, did you know that fructose is actually 8 to 10 times more glycating than glucose? Also, galactose, the simple sugar monosaccharide found in milk, is also 7 to 10 times more glycating than glucose itself. Now, this is where fruit and honey come into play, because fruit and honey are both rich in fructose, the monosaccharide. Now, here's where I must admit an island of ignorance that resided in my sea of knowledge. And I think this is a useful term because there can be people out there who are very intelligent, very educated, but they're still going to have little islands of ignorance. And this is one of mine. I just assumed that the hemoglobin A1C test that measured glycated hemoglobin in your blood, I just assumed that measured all glycation, whether it was from glucose or fructose or galactose. But that's not true. And that's what I found out, and that's what I'm going to share with you in this video. This is why the fructose in fruit and honey is a hidden danger. So you might say, hey, I've had my A1C checked and it was beautiful and I ate lots of fruit and honey. Ah, my friend, here's the rub. The hemoglobin A1C test only checks for glycation that has been caused by glucose. It does not check for glycation caused by fructose, which is 10 times more glycated. Now, I have suspected this for a while, but I couldn't find any good research on this. And I was talking to my good friend Bart Kay about this, and we were looking around, and he actually found some research